everyone, welcome to my crochet channel. Today's video I'm going to show you how to make my big O beach bag. It's 16 inches long and the bottom is 12 inches across, so it's a great big bag. Now this is a free crochet pattern on my blog, and you can find that blog link down in the notes underneath this video. Now my big old beach bag is made out of this yarn. It's called Red Heart Strata. It's a bulky number 5 and it's 76% acrylic and 24% nylon. It's basically a t-shirt yarn. It's a great yarn if you can get a hold of some. Now I haven't been able to find it anywhere except at the Red Heart website. And I had a bunch on hand, and the way that I did this bag is I began with one color and just worked through all the different colors that I had on hand. Now, don't worry, if you can't get a hold of this yarn, you can use any bulky number 5 yarns. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to be using 2 different yarns today for our demonstration. And this yarn is the Charisma made by Loops and Threads that is also a bulky number 5. So you can use any bulky number 5 yarns that you have. You're going to need about 28 ounces to make this great big bag. So keep that in mind. We're going to be stitching today with our L hook, and your L hook is an 8mm crochet hook. You need a nice big chunky hook to work with nice big chunky yarn. You're also going to need a pair of scissors and a needle with a great big hole in it so that you can weave in your ends. There isn't any clips, buttons, snaps, or anything other than the yarn, the crochet hook, the needle, and the scissors that you need to make this project. To begin our bag, we're going to make the flat circle first, and then we're going to work up the sides of our bag. So we're going to begin with our slip knot, and we're going to chain 5. We're going to join this chain 5 into a circle, put the tail through, snug this down, and make our little stay knot. And here's our chain 5 circle. We're going to put our hook in, pull up a loop, and chain 3. Now this first chain 3 counts as our first double crochet. We're going to stitch 9 double crochets for a total of 10. Yarn over, go in there, pull up that loop, yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over, and go through the second 2. We'll do this all the way around this circle till we have a total of 10 double crochets. Now you'll notice as I'm stitching my double crochets, I'm stitching over that tail of yarn that we began with. And that's because once I get my double crochets done, I can pull this string and close that hole. We don't want our beach bag to have a hole in the bottom. All right, let's see how many double crochets I've got. Here's my chain 3, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I need 2 more. There we go. So there's my 10 double crochets. I'm going to join to the top of that chain 3 with a slip stitch and chain 3. Now what I was talking about is that hole. If you turn it over, you can just gently pull on that string and that hole will close right up, and we can weave that in later. All right, let's do row 2. Now for row 2, we're going to place 2 double crochets in each of the 10 double crochets around. So our chain 3 counts as our first double crochet, and we'll put 1 double crochet right in that next double crochet. So there's our first 2. Now we'll go to the next one and we'll stitch 2 double crochets. So there's our 2 double crochets in the next double crochet, and we'll do this all the way around, stitching 2 double crochets in each double crochet. And what we're doing is we're increasing from 10 double crochets to 20. I stitched 2 double crochets in each of the double crochets around. We increased from 10 to 20 double crochets. I'm going to join to the top of that chain 3 with a slip stitch and chain 3. And for row 3, we're basically going to do the same thing. We're going to place 2 double crochets in each of the 20 double crochets, which will give us 40 double crochets. And we're working towards getting a nice flat bottom of our bag. So we'll repeat what we did. Here's our chain 3. We'll stitch 1 double crochet in that next double crochet for our first 2, and then we'll stitch 2 double crochets in each of those 20 double crochets. And this will give us a total of 40 double crochets for row 3. Two double crochets in each double crochet all around. I completed row 3, and again we went from 10 to 20 to 40 double crochets around. And I'm going to join to the top of my chain 3 with a slip stitch again and chain 3. Now this next row, we're not going to be doing doubles in each double crochet again. We're going to be doing 2 and 2. So we're going to begin with our chain 3. We'll put a double crochet in that next stitch. And then what we're going to do is put 1 double crochet in the next 2 stitches. And then we'll put 2 double crochets in the next stitch. And I call this doing 2 and 2. You're going to do 2 double crochets, 1 in each of the next 2 stitches, and then 2 double crochets in the next. So 1, 2. I placed 1 double crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then I'm going to place 2 double crochets in the next stitch. And I call it 2 and 2. It's not any technical or real term. It's just a way to help me remember what I'm doing on this row. So I'm stitching 1 double crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then 2 double crochets in the next. 1, 2, and then 2. And this is the way that this row will work all the way around. 1 double crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then 2 double crochets in the next stitch. And you'll notice we're keeping the bottom of our bag round and flat. One double crochet in the next 2 stitches and 2 double crochets in the next, all the way around, and we'll join to the top of our chain 3. I completed this row of 2 and 2, and now we're going to again join to the top of our chain 3 and chain 3. Now this row is similar to the last row. The only difference is we're going to have 3 stitches between our 2 together. So our chain 3 counts as our first double crochet, and we'll put a stitch in that next double crochet, and of course that counts as our 2 together. Now we're going to stitch 3 double crochets, 1 in each of the next 3 double crochets. And then we'll stitch the 2 together. So this is 3 and 2. One double crochet in the next 3 stitches, and then 2 double crochets together. And that's the way that this row will work. 1, 2, 3, and then 2 together. One, 2, 3, and then 2 together. And again, we'll do this all the way around this row and join to the top of our chain 3 when we get around there. So I have completed the 5th row with the 2 together and the 3 in between. So now we're going to join again to the top of our chain 3, chain 3, and we're going to repeat it again, only it's going to have 4 stitches in between our 2 together. So we'll start the same way, chain 3 and 1 double crochet in that next stitch to count as our first 2 together, and then we'll stitch 4 double crochets, 1 double crochet in the next 4 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So what we're doing on these next 3 rows is increasing the amount of double crochets between the 2 together. We did 2, then we did 3, now we're doing 4. And then we'll do 2 together. So this is 4 and 2. The next row we'll have 5, and then the next row we'll have 6. And this again just makes a nice flat bottom to our bag. And you can see how big the bottom of the bag is. It's 12 inches across, or it might be a little less or a little more depending on how tightly or how loosely that you stitch. So there's 2 together, 1, 2, 3. I need to do 1 more, because we're stitching 1 double crochet in each of the next 4, and then we're doing 2 together. 1 and 2. Then we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4. And 2 together. 1 and 2. And that's the way that row 6 will work. 2 double crochets together, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 in between, 1 in each of the next 4, and then 2 together, all the way around, and again join and chain 3. I completed row 6 with the 4 double crochets in between the 2 together. And again, we're going to join to the top of our chain 3 and chain 3. And we're going to be doing it similar for row 7. The only difference is we're going to have 5 individual double crochets between our 2 together. So we'll start the same way. Chain 3, 1 double crochet in the next to count as our first 2 together. Then we'll stitch 1 double crochet in the next 5 double crochets. There we go. We've got our 2 together, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we'll stitch 2 together and repeat. 1 double crochet in the next 5, and then 2 double crochets together. So now we're doing 5 and 2. Here's our 2 together right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we'll do 2 together again. So this is what we're doing for row 7. 1 double crochet in the next 5, and then 2 double crochets together. And we'll repeat this all the way around. And once again, we'll join to the top of our chain 3. So I have completed row 7, 2 double crochets together, and then 5 individual double crochets, 1 in each of the next 5 stitches. We're going to join to the top of that chain 3 and chain 3. Now, the next 2 rows are exactly like these. For row 8, you're going to have 6 individual stitches between your 2 together. And for row 9, you're going to have 7. So we'll go ahead and complete those 2 rows, and then I'll show you how to start working up the sides of the bag. Now for row 10, we're going to begin working up the sides of the bag, and we're not going to be doing any more increases. So what we're going to do is go ahead and cut our yarn. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm going to show you how to change colors. When I was working my bag, I went ahead and just changed colors as the skeins or skeins of yarn ran out. And you can see that I changed colors in the middle of the rows, and you can do that. I really like the way it looked on my bag, but some people would prefer that you change colors without having it in the middle of the row. So what I would do is after you join and before you chain 3, go ahead and change your color, and then do your chain 3, and that will give you a nice solid row of just one color. All right, so now we're going to begin the next row. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be stitching in the back loops only on this row. We'll be stitching 1 double crochet in each double crochet around. And if you'll notice, if you look on the top of your row, you have loops that are on the front and loops that are in the back. The loop that is the front loop is the one that's closest to you. The back loops on the rows, or on the stitches, are the loops that are away from you. And we're going to be stitching in those back loops. We're going to be stitching 1 double crochet in each double crochet, stitching in the back loops only. Yarn over, go through that back loop, and stitch your double crochet. Now, something that I like to do when I'm doing a bag is instead of just going through that back loop, there's also another little loop on the back side. Here's our front loop, and then there's that back loop, and then there's another little loop on the back side of your stitch. And when I'm stitching a bag, I like to go through both of those loops, and it just gives it a little bit sturdier of a hold. because this is a big bag and we're going to be stitching all the way around, and this bag needs to be able to hold wet beach towels and snacks and sodas, or maybe just a bunch of yarn. And so I'll go ahead and stitch through both of those loops. Okay, so here's our front loops we're not stitching in, and then we're going to stitch in the back loop and then that little loop that's on the back side of that stitch. You don't have to. I just like to do it, like I said, to help my bag be a little bit sturdier. And we're only stitching 1 double crochet in each double crochet around in the back loops only. And what you're going to see is it's going to start pushing up, and this edge here is the bottom of your bag. We'll work all the way around till we reach back around where we began with our color change and join to the top of the chain 3. 1 double crochet in each double crochet around, stitching in the back loops only till we reach around and join to our chain 3. I completed this row of stitching 1 double crochet in each double crochet around, stitching in the back loops only. You'll see there's like a line of stitches that are on the edge, and by stitching it that way, it helps the edge of the bag to sit up, because now we're going to be stitching the sides of the bag. And this is where you get to play and have fun with striping color or whatever kinds of colors of yarns that you want to add. The next rows 11 through 30, are just 1 double crochet in each double crochet around. We're not stitching in the back loops anymore, just 1 double crochet in each of the double crochets around. Make sure when you change colors that you join and change your color like we did with the purple one, and then do your chain 3. If you do that after, you end up with a chain 3 that's the color of the previous row. So join, chain 3, and then join your color in, and then do your chain 3. And like I said, for rows 11 through 30, it's just 1 double crochet in each of the double crochets around. We're not stitching in the back loop only anymore, just double crochets. And that's what makes this bag so easy. And it's quick to stitch up because we're stitching with chunky yarn. So go for it. Grab whatever colors you've got in your chunky yarns and stitch up through row 30, 1 double crochet in each double crochet around, join and chain 3. Once you've double crocheted up through row 30, you just join and tie off, and that's the top of your bag. Makes a wonderful, great big bag. And now we need to make the tie, and it's really simple. You take 3 strands of whatever yarn you're using. This one I used 3 different colors. This one I've just got the 2. It doesn't matter. Make sure that you have 3 strands together. You make your slip knot. And I still have my L hook, so you're going to need to crochet just a little bit loose. And I did 100 chains, and you're just going to make chains. You can even do this with your fingers if you find it a little bit more comfortable than using the crochet hook. But you're just going to continue to chain those 3 strands together until you have 100 chains. Then just tie the other end together. Cut your yarn and just tie it. And I added an extra knot at the end of both of my chains so they wouldn't come undone. And to put it into your bag, you're going to go along the row before we ended. We ended on row 30, so you're going to put your drawstring in row 29. And what I did is I counted about every 7 or so stitches and pulled it through, right between the stitches, like that. The double crochets are big enough that we can get in between those stitches, and I counted about 7, and I pulled it in, then out, in, then out, gently working it in, then out. And then when I got it all the way around, there's a weave in I need to do. I put the two together, and I just did a quick little, get those strings out of the way, pull through like this, just a quick knot with both of them. And then I pulled them down and trimmed the ties. And you can just cut them right across like that. And I just let them hang because I like them like that. And you can either pull it to with one drawstring, or you can pull it to the sides and use 2. Like that. Either way is fine, however you want to do it. I like the ties in the front, and so I'm just going to grab just one side. I don't even care if it's uneven. Pull it to the back with my ties in the front. And that's how absolutely easy it is to make this Big O beach bag. It's perfect for a day at the beach. It's perfect for a picnic. And it's even perfect to fill it with yarn to take on a trip, on a plane, in your car, or wherever. It is the perfect bag. And no matter what kind of yarn you make it out of, as far as colors, if you make it out of acrylic or even t-shirt yarn, it's totally washable. And I liked using the big double crochet stitches because you can shake the sand out of your bag as well.